you guys? Welcome back to Growing Your Greens Garden again. This is John Kohler, had him on the previous episode. So just the other day we were planning out his garden and I thought you guys would like to know the techniques that he uses for his garden.
And I don't even have a video on this actually, when he scooped me. Because I have a new techniques that I actually haven't shared yet to be more efficient. Yeah. Well, not quite patented, and I'm glad to share it if it makes you guys more efficient with planting, getting things planted properly square, and packing in as many plants as possible so you guys grow more food. Square foot gardening is a technique that Mel Bartholomew came up with. And basically he plants things in 12-inch squares, or 1-foot squares, and you could have like one plant per square, and if you plant everything one plant per square, that means your plants can be spaced out about 1 foot apart. You could plant sometimes, 2 things or 4 things in a square, and then you have 6-inch spacing. You could plant like 9 things in a square, and then you have even smaller spacing. So, I use his rules, not necessarily the exact science, because I would look up sometimes square foot gardening spacing for kale or for tomatoes. For kale, it's like 12 inches. But my kale I planted like at about, I think, 10 or 11 inches just because it worked out for the size of my raised bed and to fit in a few more. And it actually worked out fine. And, likewise, I think the square foot gardening for lettuce, off the top of my head, is like 6 inch. And I think we planted this out in 8 inch because it just kind of made sense to what I was doing. And it came out, it looks pretty nice also.
It does.
And then also we had to account for the achataba, and then I've aligned the rows so that we could still have these, minimally disturb them, and plant all the lettuces around them.
Yeah, I really like that. If this is not how I garden, I kind of do more freestyle.
Haphazard. You can't fit as much if you haphazard it.
I know, I don't have that much space to fit anyway.
Yeah.
But what is really nice about this method is, I noticed you're able to calculate exactly how many plants it's going to be.
Exactly, so I know. That's the other thing. I have to, number one, make sure I buy enough plants to have, and that I could want to fit them all. Yeah. And then I know how many I need. So, now for next year, I could take a picture of this and post it on my Instagram, which will be at instagram.com/growingyourgreens. And then I'll actually I planted 86 lettuce, or actually I think we planted 60 lettuces in here. And so for next year, I could be like, how many lettuces did I need? And then I'll wait, I got that Instagram post that Wendy helped me plant. So I'll know 60 plants go in this when spaced at 8 inches, because I'll also say that in my post, which is a good reason for you guys to have a YouTube channel or an Instagram to share with what you're doing, to document. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Plus to encourage and inspire others to grow their own food as well.
Definitely. And they have grown really beautifully, like that day. Even it was just 3 days apart or something after
we had some really nice days here, and we got them in, and you watered them in really nice. Plus I got some really good soil. We put some good planting mix in there. Yeah, they look like they've grown.
They definitely look like they've grown.
They definitely, they filled up because they hit those nutrients and everything.
Rosettes. Yeah. So let's talk about the nutrients. What was the mix that you put in that we shook in the
Which one? So there's 2 mixes I used.
The one that's in the pepper, the jar thing.
Oh, the pepper. So basically. Yeah. I use 3 things. So number 1, I made a special basically potting soil mix, or basically it's the stuff that we fill the holes in. We put a scoopful of that because that's basically hardcore worm castings and basically Alaska humus. So it's high fungal. And I might use I think this time I used 2 or 3 kinds of worm castings, and then in addition I use rock dust and also soil humates. And I think and then also that has my standard potting soil bed mix, which is what I plant everything in, and diluted with extra worm castings, rock dust, maybe some biochar too.
Wow, yeah.
So that's already super good. So it's high fungal, which is very important. Most gardens are bacterial based, so I put high fungal in the planting hole to have that in the root zone. And then on top of that, then we put a little teaspoonful of another mix, which is basically an organic fertilizer mix. So that was predominantly Dr. Earth's Life fertilizer and a Dr. Earth's fruit and vegetable dry fertilizer. And then that had also, actually had the M.I. Gardner, his organic fertilizer. She sent me a while back that I'm I got to put this in there because it's all diluted down. And then I added another Gardner guy's, let's see, what is he? I forget. He's the guy from Southern California. He makes his stuff for your trees to paint it. Anyways, he has a fertilizer. Put some of that in there. And then also, I put in the Job's organic fertilizer because that has something actually that no other fertilizer product does, but now the new revision or the new version does not. Unfortunately, they removed this, so it has archaea bacteria. So I have all the different, microbes in the worm casting. Now I have archaea bacteria, which I think is very important. It's hard to find in a product these days, unfortunately. Oh, and then that's about half the bottle. And then the other half of the bottle is basically like mineral-rich fertilizer from the guy. He's from Wyoming. I did a video with him. It's on like minerals, trace minerals that could basically heal your body. So it has like selenium and all these other rare trace minerals that are good for us. So like I'm actually right now, it's the last one I'm using. So it's actually the fertility formula. So it's actually trace minerals to like get somebody pregnant. Not that I need to get anybody pregnant because I don't, but that's the last one. But it has, those minerals are good for other things as well. But he also has a diabetes one, which has chromium and vanadium in there and sulfur. So you could basically have more of those in your leaf tissue analysis, which he does do. And hopefully later this year, I'll be visiting him because he got a machine to analyze, tissue leaf analysis. So like he grows lettuce that has like insanely high amounts of platinum and ruthenium and germanium, basically as a nutritional, well, it's really a food, but it's basically a nutritional supplement. But it's coming in a plant-based form to get your trace minerals. So this is very important to me because like these minerals, especially things like zinc, can be deficient in a standard diet. But now when I'm supplementing my soil with some of these trace minerals that now go into the leaf compounds, now when I eat my salad, I'm basically just getting, this is my medicine. I mean, that's why I grow my food. So this has significantly higher levels of these trace minerals, not only from the rock dust, but from these special mineral additives shown to be proven to like help with certain chronic conditions. If you're deficient in certain minerals, then you're more likely to get disease conditions, which have been totally researched. Now, the other thing that I say is that I also take seaweed that has a wide spectrum of trace minerals. I don't just depend on my food as much as it may or may not have in there. So that's that whole powder thing that we put a tablespoon in. And then when we took each plant out of the 6-pack, we sprinkled on a little like oversized salt shaker. So that's just one product. I didn't mix anything. That's actually the Plant Success Organics mycorrhizal with bacterial inoculant. So I basically got all these bacteria, microbes, archaea, fungal, like everything you could possibly put.
That's a big party down there.
That's a big party in there. So, my goal is just get it in there. Hopefully this stuff has efficacy and is alive, and let all the plants figure it out. And seriously, we planted this Friday, and it's now Tuesday, and it did grow. It did grow.
It's just been
like in 4 days, which is kind of insane.
Half week.
Like not even, and so like and we've had some nice weather. So I could actually start harvesting a dinner off this almost tonight. Like some of these small baby leaves that are on the bigger heads, for sure. Not that I'm gonna do this. Well, actually, this is my best lettuce bed because actually my other lettuce bed that I showed you that got the paint on it, it's not doing real good right now actually. So it's coming out. But also, I started with healthy plant starts. Very important.
It's very good size plants.
From CPG Nursery, and I'll soon have a video on the CPG versus Toro Nursery in Southern California, where actually the other lettuces on the other side of my garden were from, which aren't doing as well for probably many reasons.
It's a good comparison. But then the weather's kind of warmed up too.
Yeah, but I also did, I did buy parsley from both nurseries, planted them side by side.
Oh, okay. So did you have them labeled, like, to know which...
No, I could see because they're different sized, and also, like, I compared the root zones in my video that I made. So you could see, like, the roots on the CPG nursery are just significantly stronger and more abundant and fill out more than the ones from the Toro nursery. Oh, wow. So healthy plant starts are critical, so go out of your way to spend a little bit more to get healthy plant starts.
Because when I get little plugs, like, it makes a big difference. Usually you can't even see them and it'll just disappear and you forget about it because it's just so small you can't see it. Or you put something there and it squashes it, or they just don't have that. The root system hasn't established.
It's not as strong, A lot of the plant stock I get here in Vegas is just grown mostly in peat, and they don't have that special formula that CPG uses. and it's just richer or something they're doing that makes the plant starts healthier, and they perform better in my garden.
They definitely do. They had a really crazy good, strong root system. Some were almost getting root bound because they really get so big.
A little bit too big, almost, but they're just
Can't
right.
complain. Yep.
Can't complain. I'd rather have them a little bit big than too small. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you say would be like, say if someone's like gardening on a budget and they're starting out, what would be like maybe like the top 3 most important nutrition they really need to feed the plants when they're planting in, would you say? Like, I don't know, name a few, doesn't have to be 3, but.
Most important nutrition. So, I mean, I would say mycorrhizae. That's very important. So, mycorrhizae, although it costs a lot to buy it, it goes a long way, and we probably were shaking out too much than we need.
Well,
yeah.
they look great.
But, I mean, it works. So, I mean, you could really use a lot less, and you could get a water-soluble one, and then you could literally just soil drench it after. I like to shake it on every root zone to make sure it's there where it needs to be.
So where would you buy that?
So a hydroponic store, you're not going to usually find that at a standard
Yeah.
garden center nursery, because maybe if it's an organic one and they're aware, they might have it. But most hydroponic stores will have it. I recommend the Plant Success brand, and I recommend a variety of mycorrhizae that has a wide spectrum of different mycorrhizae, plus also bacteria in there. Although there's people that will argue with me that will say it's always better to get a mycorrhiza-only based product so that they don't compete with the bacteria. And, maybe so, and if so, then you'd want to apply the mycorrhizae at the time of planting and then the bacteria shortly thereafter so that they're not competing at the same exact time.
Sure.
But nonetheless, I like to just put them all at the same time because I can't be dealing with micromanaging, like, I put mycorrhizae the first day, now I got to put bacteria. Like, I'm about ready to do a compost tea here in the next couple of days. I'm going to brew a big batch up. So I would say that, number 1, mycorrhizae, and then I would say rock dust and worm castings is a 2 and 3. Like, those are critical in my opinion. And then maybe after that, compost tea. And actually, if you don't want to do rock dust and the worm castings, just do the compost tea. It's not exactly takes the place of those, but like it's so important. And I mean, of course, start off with a good soil blend in your raised bed that you're planting is the most important thing. Because I mean, a lot of bag soils, in my opinion, I have a video where I go to Walmart and buy a bunch of bag soils and I go through them all, and I mean, they're mostly all crap in my opinion. But I found the one that was the best, and it's still not as good as the stuff I would buy in bulk in California. But like, you got to do the best you can. And we don't have good soil here where I live, unfortunately, that I could buy easily.
Well, luckily, you're just a few hours drive away from California.
So I'm not going to necessarily bring back bags of soil because I have a bunch here and I make my own compost here. But this trip I did bring back insect frass or mealworm frass, basically, and it was free in Compton. Just had to dodge the bullets. Joke. And then I brought back cocoa mulch because I'm going to experiment with that, and it's not available locally. But otherwise, I brought back plant starts and just a whole bunch of produce. But I can't waste space on soil. I'll maybe get a soil delivery from my friend one of these days, and
a truckload of it.
And the other thing is too, I'm already topped off pretty much, so I just have some bag stuff that I amend with and buy a few things that cost a little bit of money to make sure I have some really nice soil and rich soil.
Those are pretty important tips, and I'm glad I do all of that when I...
Already?
So I was like going through the checklist, like, okay, I did do this, I did do that.
Well, you probably don't use all the crazy stuff I do, but you just got some of the basics.
I get the basics, and then I do blend in some seaweed powders.
Yeah, I mean, in the fertilizers that I use, there's seaweed powders in there, so that's in the little teaspoon thing. Yeah, and that's one thing I would add to that planting mix that I haven't been adding lately that I would like to.
Yeah. Okay. Checked. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just show them the video of how we did it, since I sort of documented that, and yeah.
Maybe like 5. We could do 8-inch spacing because that's like these are 8-inch.
John's trying to find out how much spacing should be between each lettuce so he can plant the most lettuce in this 4x8 raised bed.
I mean, this is the most efficient way for spacing wise.
Yeah.
Depends on what your goal is. I mean, and I want things symmetrical so they're not like touching.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a preference too. Yeah.
Like, look at my kale bed. Look how that how nice that grows.
That's
like
true.
it's all just about spaced out perfectly. Like they're barely touching.
They're all not.
When they are touching, that's like, dude, harvest.
Before we started planting, John had to figure out where the plants would go, so he used some bamboo stakes to mark each row. Then each plant would be planted 8 inches apart.
I just came up with this last time. Like I've been always like measuring every hole. If I just mark that once,
Yeah.
I'm like totally good because I can just move.
Based on John's calculations, he's able to fit 6 rows in this raised bed. Now, the number of rows or plants that you're able to put in your raised bed will vary depending on the size of your raised bed or how many plants you want to fit in there, how tightly you want to space them. So the numbers will vary based on all of that. And according to John, he wanted everything to be about at 8 inches apart. And so he's using the string to guide to form this line where the plants would go, and he would mark the string at every 8 inches, and that's where the bamboo stakes would go so that we can plant on these markings later. And after doing the first row, he would offset it in the next row, and then the row following that he would use the string and to make these marks at 8 inches again.
All right, now we're gonna move it to like that second row over there.
Okay.
Take out the first one. That should be almost right in the between these two, which is not quite, because actually I should be able to measure. Actually, the better way to do it would be to measure these, which is about 8 inches, and then go to 4, so I was off.
And then you can go to 8 after that.
And then I could measure this to 8, and that's why this was off a little bit. And then if we do this, now we should be pretty close. Hey, this is patented technology.
I'll credit you. The efficient way to find out where the lettuce would be planted, John used 2 different color markers to mark the strings. He's using the blue marker here to mark it at every 8 inches, and that's where the plants will be placing later. And then for the next row, he's going to offset it, and he's going to be using a different color marker. So he's just going to be repeating the odd numbers. We'll be using one color, the even rows would be using a different colored marker. So he just has to follow those markers to know where the plants will be going. Now that we got all the spacings correct, next is the planting.
Like I don't know, maybe to 3. So basically, pull out a stake, run it in there, on about to there.
Okay.
Oh shoot, got a worm.
Oh, he's right there. He's moving. He's good.
Irrigation.
Cool.
So basically, take out chunks at each hole, all the way down, and I have to get the planting mix.
So I can just do that right now?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, cool. If you ever run into a pipe, obviously scoot over so you don't damage anything. Alright, I got the raised bed ready for planting. Let's go check on John to see if his mix is ready.
So this is the planting mix that like is pretty much heavy with worm castings and like all kinds of stuff. I should have put insect frass, but or whatever to fill up the hole, and then you top off with this.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a super rich worm casting mix with like all kinds of stuff. Just take like a little bit of this, and then every hole also gets like 1 tablespoon of this stuff.
What is that?
Like a mixture of like Dr. Earth Life Formula, and then I just kind of like scoot it in a little bit.
Okay.
And then I take this stuff, which is like Planet Success Organics Mycorrhizae, and I just sprinkle on the roots over this so that anything else just goes in.
Yeah.
Then I basically pop that guy in there, and I take a little bit of this and kind of work it in around the edge.
Gotcha.
And that's my method for the madness. There's one. Well, why don't I fill this till the space I think is needed?
Okay.
And then you go around with the ones that I fill with this stuff, then put in like this size of a scooper.
Okay.
Of that.
I hope you guys learned something new. I'm sure I did, and I really love, that's the thing about helping out a friend, you know, you can always exchange ideas and learn something new. Like I learned the very, like a more production kind
pragmatic production, fit in more, and efficient. Yes, I like to be efficient as possible, and I always strive to improve what I'm doing, you know, like that method of marking my string. Like I just seriously just came up with that like last season, like end of last season, to like, how can I space things? Because I normally have space every plant, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, let's just mark the string. I could like duplicate the string because I have offset rows, and it's like, oh my god,
perfect.
So amazing. So I'm glad you made a video about it. I'm still gonna make a video about it one of these days.
You can have 2 versions.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, you guys, be sure to go check out John's channel, Growing Your Greens, Discount Juicers, and OK Raw for all the, well, a lot of knowledge that you can gain and experience in, you know, what John's doing, eating, growing, sharing, and yeah, check out his Instagram as well. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. And if you guys would like some plants, spring is coming. I do have some seeds and stuff like that available on my website. I'll be sure to leave all the links of to John's channel and the links to mine, my social media below the video.
All right, Wendy. Well, thanks for coming over and help me out, plant out this. It's much appreciated. And stay tuned for some videos on my channel with Wendy.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you all so much. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you guys back here again soon.